So I just finished the rehab work on this new rental. So before I make a cash flow video, I just wanted to make this video to show all the work that I had to do, since I had to do a tiny bit more than I thought I would, mainly exterior because the wood was rotten. But I'm going to do a quick walk around the outside and then the inside just to show the work that I had to do to get it rent ready. So I had to replace the fascia. It was completely rotten under the vinyl covering. So I replaced it with solid PVC. So it should last forever basically, since it's waterproof. And then I just had gutters installed. So I paid to have the fascia and gutters installed. I did not do this myself since it was too much work and I didn't have enough time. So I'll just show over here. And I sealed anything that was left open on the roof, since there's some open seams and stuff, just to prevent any leaks in the future. And I was able to get all that mold off. This thing was covered in mold, so hopefully with gutters, mold won't redevelop along that siding right there. It might still happen just because it's in the shade, but this should reduce the chance. And this entire side of the house was really moist on the ground, so the gutter should help solve that. So same thing, there's this huge bush here that had really overgrown and had actually destroyed that fascia right there. It had gone underneath it and was destroying the ends of the joist as well. So I cut that down for sure, and it was right next to the brick too, so it eventually started destroying that. So that's fixed, and new gutters there. Right here, I reused a couple of the two downspouts that were here to save some money, so I just repainted them and they look brand new now, so no problems there. I sealed all the windows, painted the lintels up there, so those should be good and shouldn't fail. I still might stain the fence. This wood right here is good, it's not rotten yet. I ended up power washing this patio. The paint was doesn't look like it was made for concrete. It was just exterior paint, so it had all flaked off. So I pressure washed it as best I could to make it clean. And this wood right here on the fascia I just left, since it was appeared to be brand new. So I painted it, and same for this wood right here. And this was all exterior grade, so it wasn't too damaged. I ended up trimming all of the branches up there. It looks like they had been overgrown and had completely destroyed the fascia along that edge right there, just from being whipped back and forth over time. I replaced all these broken pickets in case there's a pet here. Liability issues, they didn't want it getting through the fence and biting the neighbor or something. So here's a close-up of this side. So this is the outside. I'm going to go around front and show the inside. Okay, I'm at the front door, so I'm going to start. I'll show the garage first. So I basically just cleaned it out. There was some really loose shelving. It was kind of dangerous, so I got rid of it, and I nailed this shelving up. So I wanted to have shelving there to encourage tenants to put items on them, so they're more likely to stay longer if they feel like it's home. I ended up replacing the water heater just because I didn't want to have to come back and possibly have to pull a permit or anything like that, or pay a professional plumber, which would have been very expensive. So I just got this from Home Depot and did it myself, so that saved a lot of money. So I'll come here downstairs. Of course, I replaced the flooring. I paid someone to pull the carpet, but I did the flooring myself. I had to scrape all the concrete. It was full of old drywall mud from the construction process. That was a lot of work. And then I had to lay a moisture barrier on this slab. And then I was finally able to lay the actual flooring. So I used this flooring from Lumber Liquidators. It's the heaviest duty stuff they had. So this was the thickest wear layer and a thicker pad, or a thicker vinyl plank. And I also had an attached pad, so I didn't have to lay out underlayment before laying it down, only the vapor barrier. So I left the existing flooring here because it was in good shape. There was no water damage, and the wear layer was still intact. You can see there's still sheen, so good to go. Didn't do much in here, just safety stuff. I had to replace this sink bottom because this had completely rotten through and smelled horrible. It smelled like mold. So I just cut a new piece and put it in there, and now it's solid. And I put a waterproof barrier on top of it, just contact paper. Same for all of the sinks in the house. Siliconed around all the sinks as well, bathrooms and here, and put an anti-tip on the oven, as well as smoke detectors and a CO detector in the house to meet the code. And that's pretty much it for the kitchen. Also throughout the house, I replaced all of the light bulbs with LEDs, so and the 18-year LEDs, so hopefully tenants shouldn't have to ever replace light bulbs. Plus the electricity bill should be very low. And I did not paint at all. I had to do some touch-ups where there were nails where I pulled, so I just filled the holes and try to paint match as best I could. As you can see, you might be able to see those patches right there. I didn't get that good of a paint match, but it's fine. Again, only flooring and a quarter round around it. So not much here. Bathroom, I had to pull the wallpaper, which took forever, about 4 hours just to do this. More, it was more like 6 hours actually, just to pull it, and then I had to repaint the whole bathroom. So it was a giant pain. So lesson learned, avoid wallpaper. I was able to reuse some gray paint that my dad had from 3 years ago on a rehab, so it wasn't that expensive to do it. Here, I had to silicone all of these tiles because none of it's waterproofed, and they didn't leave any gaps between the tiles, so I couldn't grout it that well. So I just siliconed all of the seams, and as well as all over the floor, all the way around it. Toilet back there, so everything's waterproof. This was tile, and what I did is I had some scrap vinyl planks left, so I put a small board along the back end, assembled the planks together to make a surface, so it's elevated back there, and it's directly on the tile right here. So I just laid that flat and then put this contact paper on it that looks bathroomy, and it's waterproof. So I siliconed all the way around the edge, so now when water hits here, instead of collecting here and leaking down in between the cracks of the tile and damaging the wood underneath, it just runs down here. So hopefully this is waterproof for years to come. The stairs that I did, I made them as tenant proof as possible. So these are the same planks as the floor. I just cut them to size, used an aluminum nose here. So it's very stout stuff. And siliconed all of the seams, so if wet shoes and muddy shoes get on here, water can't run behind them and destroy the treads underneath. So here's this room, same thing, just flooring. Also, I did vacuum the entire ceiling here. It was full of dust and it looked horrible. I thought I'd have to repaint, but just vacuuming it fixed it. And those light bulbs right there were a super big pain, since that's about 19 feet off the ground. So I had to get a ladder standoff to be able to reach me out here. And then I was able to change them out. And these are actually 12-volt light bulbs. So there's a transformer there. So that was a pain. Luckily, I was able to find those at Walmart. But I replaced them with LEDs. So those should never have to be replaced for another 20 plus years. This bathroom, just siliconed everything. So not much work in here at all. Everything was pretty much turnkey here. And of course the bedroom, same thing, just flooring. Carpet was pulled, and then I laid the flooring back down. I did have to lay thin set at all of the plywood seams because they were very unflat. I mean, right here there's a 1/2 inch gap between one board to the next, so I had to fill all that so it's flat enough for the flooring. But other than that, I didn't do anything. I think I replaced the face plates on these outlets and switches because they were horrible. But everything else is unchanged, luckily. So that's about it. Other than miscellaneous stuff, like the area handler in the attic was very unlevel, so it was leaking, which was bad. So I had to get up there and level it. It was way out of level. So that should be fixed. But other than that, I didn't really do anything. So it still took me I'm pushing about 180 hours of rehab time doing it myself, not including the work I had paid to get done. So this was definitely more work than I thought it'd be, but the end result is nice, and hopefully I could get good tenants, and this is desirable. It's listed for rent right now, and I'm getting a lot of showings, so it looks like there's high demand, but we'll see what the actual tenant looks like that I decide on. So that's it for this video. This is the work that I had to do to get this rent ready, and I will follow up in another video showing the cash flow numbers after I get a tenant placed. Thanks for watching.